Hi, everybody. Welcome to Goliath is Falling. This is where we talk about slaying those giants that are occupying our promised lands. And in one of my previous videos, I talked about the fact that desire in itself is the promised land. And today I'm sharing my marriage testimony, the testimony of how I got married. And I really believe that marriage is one of those desires that is a promised land for some people. And I just want to share about how God was my matchmaker. I'll probably do this video in two parts. But that desire to be married is quite a big thing. If you don't know me, my name is TT Jones. My voice is croakier than usual today. It's late on Monday, but I am committed to being here once a week to share what God is showing me, mindset tips, because it is through pulling down those strongholds, those grasshopper thoughts, that's how we will slay Goliath. That's how we will possess our promised lands. And there were three things I felt God did in me to prepare me for marriage. And it has to do with my way of thinking. You know, in part two, maybe I'll talk about how he actually led me to my husband. But today I just want to talk about how he prepared me for marriage. I hope you have watched my video of how I became a Christian. Please do if you haven't. I became a Christian on May 22nd, around 10 o'clock in the morning, 1988. I was about 25. And personally, I had had previous relationships before I became a Christian. Some of them were quite serious. And when I became a Christian, I had quite a dramatic conversion. You know, people who know me know that I am quite a serious person by nature. So when I became a Christian, I really did love God. I really knew God was real. And I would definitely say I veered on the Pharisee side of Christianity. I was more of an elder brother, you know, toiling, doing lots of works for the Father, very good on the rules and the regulations. And I was quite concerned about getting it wrong. I didn't want to do anything to upset God. I would have gone to be a missionary in China if he sent me. And I really wanted to leave everything up to God. I wanted him to show me who my husband was. But in spite of that, I was also fearful that he would show me who my life partner was and that it would be someone chosen to keep me humble, to keep me, yeah. What happened was around the 80s, mid 80s, to when I became a Christian, I had heard so many stories of professional women, Christian women. Some of them I knew, some I had heard about, marrying men that personally I considered inappropriate for them. This is one true story I heard of, was that this female banker looked out of her window at the security guard and she hears a voice that she believes is God saying, "That is your husband." Go figure. But more on that later. Anyway, I very much loved God. I wanted to please him. And, that's the first thing, is he did give me that desire to be married. I really feel like he put that desire for marriage in me. I definitely did not have Paul's calling to be single. I saw this Bible verse recently, and it's from Isaiah 36. And it says, "Look in the scroll of the Lord and read. None of these will be missing. Not one will lack her mate. For it is his mouth that has given the order, and his spirit will gather them together." And I know that is taken completely out of context, but the fact is that God can put animals together for child rearing. The Bible often talks about how God provides. We look at the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. They all had God providing the right spouses for them. I really did believe that the desire I had for marriage was from God. But what it did in some ways is that it made me very hypervigilant. Every man that came into the church, that walked by me on the streets, it was fair game. I was looking to find the one. I remember working late at night in an architectural office I worked in. And there were not many people working, but there was another architect that I quite fancied. And very much out of the blue, I heard a voice outside myself. I wasn't planning to hear it, but I felt like the voice say, "Let go, it's not him." So the first thing God did was give me a desire to be married. And the second thing, when I heard that voice, couldn't even describe what the voice was like, but I knew that God was reassuring me that he would guide me. And it really brought a measure of rest into me. I didn't have to be searching for the one. I really could allow God to guide me. And the third thing that God did was heal me of some very negative mindsets and imaginations that really had clouded my thoughts about what a happy Christian marriage was. I had to look for new role models of good and happy Christian marriages. I remember that, that story I mentioned of professional women marrying men that they would not ordinarily have thought about if they were not Christians. I know it sounds very snobby and almost terrible to say out loud, but that was my way of thinking. But what happened to me was that as soon as I became a Christian, my own judgment came upon me. I had essentially, I was now in a trajectory of marrying a man that was not going to be suitable for me because that was my expectation of Christian marriage. In fact, I had a series of very interested suitors who I would not have given a second thought previously, all starting to look for me. At least 4 times I've had men come and say to me, "I feel like God says that you're my wife." And I have to say, it caused a lot of anguish to me. I almost considered just backsliding, just giving up the whole Christian life because I felt that this was just so agonizing. And then one day, again, out of the blue, I had a call from a friend of mine who felt like God wanted her to pray with me. And through a series of Holy Spirit prayers and revelations, God showed me just how I had judged him as a father who doesn't always provide the best for his children because he's trying to build character in us. And also he showed me how I had judged Christian women and how that judgment had now come on me. And as soon as I repented, I felt a freedom concerning the whole area of marriage in a way that I had not done in the 2 years since I became a Christian. And that freedom, that was really the open door. That set the stage for me to meet and to know my husband, Pete. But more on that in our next video. So come back and hear the next story of how I actually met Pete. That story is really fascinating. I might even do a midweek if I'm feeling up to it. So if you are enjoying my content, please like, subscribe, share. This is how the YouTube algorithms can improve the visibility of this content. But I am grateful for your company. I hope you are well, and I look forward to seeing you next time. God is a matchmaker, and God is a good father. He is a very good father.